everyone, welcome back to my YouTube. It's your girl Honey. Today we're talking about Venus in retrograde on the natal chart. So what's inspired me to make this video today? As most of you guys know, with my Venus in the 11th house self, I am chatting to a guy who has his Venus in retrograde, also his Mercury, and it's just inspired me to just make a video just talking about the struggles that I faced dating these people, and also the struggles that they faced having to clarify this energy in basic terms. All right, because I found as much research and reading up as you can do on this particular placement when it's retrograde, it just doesn't process properly for me anyway, with my Venus in Taurus self. And I find in some cases you have to go through the experience of interacting with people in order to get that understanding that you really need to validate this energy for you. So what I did the other day, I went into a group. The group's called Afro Astrology on Facebook, and it's a private members group anyway. Not everyone can get in, but shout out to those who are in the group. So the status that I wrote on there was, if anyone, what challenges do you face if you are a Venus in retrograde or you've dated one? And there was a few comments, and what's funny is everything that they were saying is exactly what I'm dealing with or what I've dealt with. So with that information, I just got clarity on how I felt, and also I wanted to just share the video with you guys and express my findings as well as other people's findings. So when it comes to people who have their Venus in retrograde on their natal chart, these people struggle. And remember, retrograde is backwards energy. You know, it's an internal problem at times going on with them. And it's not their fault at all. This is just like a struggle that they do face when it comes to retrogrades on the chart. And when your Venus is in retrograde, you tend to have trust issues that, you know, you may never have even been in a relationship, been hurt by anybody, you know, but you just have these trust issues and you can't explain it. And you can't explain it. And sometimes it's even harder to explain if your Mercury is also in retrograde. People are just naturally not going to understand you. It's a massive misunderstanding between people who are retrogrades and people who are not retrogrades. So I would advise people who are retrogrades to be dating someone to be very, very patient with them, someone who is very, very selfless, and someone who is okay working on their time. Because in the beginning, Venus retrogrades are not going to trust you. They're not going to open up to you and be open and vulnerable to you, because that's what Venus is about. Venus is a planet of romance. It's about loving, you know, your idea of love, and expressing to this person how you feel about them, how you felt in the past and stuff. And obviously, when it's retrograde, you can't really do that. It's very hard for them to do that. So with this guy that I'm speaking to, I have been friends with him, or let me not say friends, because we have been a little bit intimate. I've known him for about 3 or 4 years, and before I knew about his chart, when I say it was difficult to understand him, because it is difficult to understand these people. Like it's hard, because they have a hard time expressing. And what I found is I'm Venus in Pisces, so naturally when I get into relationships, I am a selfless lover. I can't help it. You know, I can't breathe unless my man's breathing, basically. Like when I'm Venus and Pisces out, that's how I behave. So what I've learned is, now that I understand this energy, I now look at it like, okay, you know, we couldn't be in a relationship now anyway, because he's in America right now and I'm obviously in the UK. We are planning stuff, but listen, all in due time, you guys will know all about it, because you guys are nosy as hell. What I find with these people, you need to be friends with them first. You need to establish a foundation through being friends with each other and just taking the time to get to know each other over a long period of time. Most people get to know each other and like each other within 3-6 months maybe. And you know, with retrogrades, it can take longer, maybe twice as long to do so. And it just makes the dating process for them difficult, because they go on their time. You cannot rush them. at all. And I think because of this, they tend to lead in their relationships as well, because, you know, if they're not prepared to negotiate, especially if it's a fixed Venus, you know, they ain't prepared to go on anybody's time but theirs. You can't rush them, because if you do, it just completely throws them off. And a lot of time when it comes to when they're ready, the person who was interested in them, if their Venus isn't in retrograde, they're going to be, it's too long for them. Why wait around if they're not showing that they're interested? And a lot of times when it comes to Venus in retrograde people, you don't even know if they like you. They just have a problem expressing to you. It's a massive issue. And that's why I'm saying you're better off being friends in the beginning, just to establish each other on like a surface level, because they're not very good at getting deep. Because you are establishing a friendship, you know, they're going to have issues flirting as well. They're not just expressing to you, yeah, I'm into you, you know. Their way of flirting is just very like weird. Instead of saying, oh my God, like this is how I flirt, okay? So let's say there's a Leo in front of me. I'm like, oh my God, your arms are so big. Oh my God, are you wearing Armani Code? Oh, come here. Oh, you smell great. You know, that's how I flirt. Okay, Venus in retrograde, people cannot flirt at all. They're not very good. And that's why it's difficult to know whether they like you or not. When it comes to dating them, you know, there's just a massive misunderstanding. I find these people, when it comes to Venus in retrograde people, you guys need to date someone who is happy to give you space, to give you time, to not cloud you with too much heavy conversation. You know, someone who is able to not pressure you or push you to do things that you ain't ready to do. Someone has to be very, very patient with you and very, very selfless, in a sense where they're able to still be there for you. You know, you got to really think about that stuff. So this is my video on Venus in retrograde on the natal chart, and I will see you on the next one, people. Take care.